Welcome back, viewers, and we hope that you're enjoying the panels today on Stream B. It is my pleasure to introduce the next panel with a conversation between Shelley Petit and Murielle Pitre from New Brunswick Coalition of Persons with Disabilities, pardon me. They are discussing two important topics, the universal design and the disability industrial complex. Over to you, Shelley and Murielle. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much. So my name, as has been said, is Shelley Petit. I live here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and I have an invisible disability known as multiple chemical sensitivity. And my partner in crime today is...
Murielle.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Murielle Pitre. I am the founder of NBCPD. I look after the communications aspect of the coalition, and I'm very happy and honored to be here today with the Disability Without Poverty on this very special day.
Yes. So we do want to, same thing, honored to be here. What we're going to do is we're going to do a short presentation on the disability industrial complex, and then we're going to open it up for some chats. So let's see if technology is going to play with me today or not.
Will it be our friend today?
Yes.
Yes.
It wants to open up several versions of it, so this should be interesting. Okay, we're going to try that again. Murielle, sing a song to entertain the folks while Shelley does this again. Well, actually, we'll say, has anyone here heard of the Disability Industrial Complex, or as I call it, the DIC, because it's very an apropos name? And if so, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? You probably have figured out my version of it. So here we go. I think I have the technology figured out this time. Video. Share screen.
I'll take this very brief moment to say that we are thinking about one of our members today who we lost to cancer last night. And I won't say his name, but we're thinking about him today.
So here we go. The presentation should be showing now for you. So What is the Disability Industrial Complex? What is that? So here's the actual definition. It is a system where various entities like government corporations or businesses, agencies, the not-for-profits, even healthcare providers, that's more in the US than Canada, but still an issue, operate in ways that perpetuate and benefit from exploiting people with disabilities. Now, if you are here representing one of those groups, this is not I don't want you to feel like this is an attack or this is negative in any way. We're just explaining what it is. And then we're hoping that you can work from the inside with us to make the system better. So this is a concept, the DIC, that sort of draws parallel from the medical complex, industrial complex in the US, especially where you go in to see the doctor for a treatment. They give you a pill for it. It has side effects. So then you have to take another pill for the side effects, which has more side effects. So then you have to take another pill and so on and so on. And then you have a big pill box full of pills. So who is benefiting from that? In the US, especially doctors that make money when they prescribe pills, the medical company that sells the pills, right? So they're making all kinds of money at our expense. Now, sometimes it is necessary medication, and then that's good. But sometimes it's like, oh, I have a little pain, and maybe if they just said, don't drink milk anymore, it would fix it. You know what I mean? Like it happens.
Mm.
Or the military industrial system in the US, where and it's happening right now. The economy's not great. So let's start attacking some other people because then we have to bring in more reserves and pay them, maybe make some more equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So it allows money. So I'm going to just provide a prime example. In New Brunswick, about 5, 6 years ago, with our old premier, and this is the only time I think I ever agreed with the man. He talked about the city of St. John in New Brunswick, which is often considered the city on a per capita with the highest teenage pregnancy rates, the highest obesity rates, and the highest disability rates. As we say in New Brunswick, we're number one for all the wrong reasons. One year, they put in something like an additional $50 million into St. John just to work on disability issues. Well, we didn't see that go into anybody's pockets, but we did see some of the third-party service providers take some pretty nice trips to go to conferences, to hire new people to do a lot of there was one group that did a paint and sip session, and they represent mobility people, and they put up a picture of them all on a staircase where none of us could use with a mobility disability, things like that. So could that money be better served in our pockets? Do we not, as people with disabilities, have the right to our own self-determination and to our own dignity to decide where that money goes? And that's what the DIC looks at. So hand in hand with that, we have the charitable industrial complex. Everybody here has been to a checkout lately where they say, would you like to add $2 or $5 or, something to your bill to assist such and such a charity? And then we do it. And then that business is on the news. And they've just made $100,000 or $2 million donation to a charity. And great, that helps that organization. Don't get me wrong. But it's my money and your money and Murielle's money and everybody's money here. But they're getting the glory, and more importantly, they're getting a tax break from it. So maybe we should be putting that money directly to them. Just like maybe the disability money would be better served coming directly to people in some cases. And it's something that we need to think about more and look at more. So let's talk about it. We want to talk about what this actually is, and I'm going to let you see my lovely face. And if you have questions or comments on the DIC, we would ask that you share those with us right now. So is there anyone that has a question or comment that you would like to share on the DIC?
I think I'll open up the questions, Shelley, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking some people might say, well, who cares, Shelley? Because they're helping us anyway. So what would you say about that? They're still helping.
Oh, absolutely. And there are great, absolutely phenomenal third-party service providers out there. We do not want
I agree.
this discussion to offend them or hurt them by any means. But there are some that maybe are less trustworthy. It's more about, okay, well, if we fix the entire transportation issue, we're out of jobs. So let's fix it some, and keep our jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And would it not be better to ensure that one, that we have access to the transportation, and two, that we're involved and we make these decisions. We're not just told after the fact. And that's what happens sometimes, at least in New Brunswick, maybe not in the rest of the country. And if it doesn't, please share with us how it works where you are so that we can
Mm.
gently harass the government to make changes.
Do you think, Shelley, that the people who are working in this type of agency, do you think they're really conscious of this, or is this more of a, something in the background and that they're not really thinking about it, that each day they're
Oh,
just working to help people and that's not really in their thoughts. So,
oh, absolutely. I do not think that this is a conscious decision or choice. People that work for these organizations, for the most part, give their heart to
great
us. They
people.
wear
Yeah.
their heart on their sleeve. They do so much. You know, my mother, when she was in a nursing home, or sorry, before she had to go to a nursing home, her care worker really kept her alive. She was
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. But sometimes, and I see it in smaller groups, I think sometimes it is happening, but it's just maybe up top. And then we read about these in the news afterwards. And I fear that sometimes that will hurt us getting funding. There are some people that should have more direct access to funding.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing it in New Brunswick with things like the direct to tenant funding for housing. And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we
So
may
what
have
do
a
what do
question
you
here.
guys what do you guys think? I asked two questions. What do you guys think? Does anybody have any comments or questions about the dick?
We have a comment here that came to me, and it's a beautiful comment. So I work a
Okay.
day job in a nonprofit with people with intellectual disabilities. And I'm so lucky that we emphasize choice, community, inclusion, and dignity over charity and segregation. Jenna, that is fabulous. That's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we see some people in New Brunswick who are basically told this is what you need. This is what's happening. We have a mom who is 84 who still has her intellectually disabled child at home because she's afraid of what may happen. She needed
Yeah.
not a roll-in shower because he is in a wheelchair and has autism. And he just did not like water on his face. And I understand that completely from my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And when they applied through one of the third party providers for a walk-in bathtub, the answer I saw a copy of the email was, you don't need that. You just want a luxury for yourself. That's somebody answering that doesn't quite get it. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess in the long run, we don't seem to have a lot of questions. Oh, we have a question from Caitlin. I
Oh,
don't know
yes.
if you can speak. Is she able to unmute and speak?
Mm,
We'll see. Try,
I think
Caitlin.
I think we should be able to since
I'm
we're
not
all
sure.
I'm
You're
trying to
still on mute, so I don't think you can.
I'm trying to find her re
Hello, hi. I'm just Omar here from Disability.podcast.
Okay,
So
Oh,
we have a couple. So I just want to confirm: are you done the presentation then? Was that
just
a
the
good
first
slide?
one. We're going to go back in a minute to do a second one.
Okay, I think I would there are some questions that have come in. So there's a question, someone said, what are the alternatives to labels and structures? You wouldn't know what you have then. So that's the first question.
Okay.
And then the other question is, how do we as disabled people have input on this issue and topic? How do we express to our local and provincial and federal government that we want more autonomy in decisions on funding and assistance? So I'll just uh
Oh,
present those two
thanks,
questions to
Omar.
you. No problem.
Yes. So that question about how do we tell our government that we need more autonomy and more, just like that. Um, Emails and calls are phenomenal. It makes a difference. We did an email campaign in New Brunswick about power because New Brunswick, again, #1 for all the wrong reasons, still allowed winter disconnects. Not anymore. Through a campaign process last year of emails and telling the company that and the government that this is ridiculous because we had 2 members pass away because the power was disconnected and they lost their equipment didn't work that they needed and they passed. There is now a moratorium this year, and that gives us 1 year to work together to figure out a better solution. So,
and talking amongst each other even, it really puts the problem at the forefront. The more people talk about it, it's going from ear to ear. I'm trying to remember what that means, how we say that this in English.
didn't know français.
Du bouche à l'oreille. Du bouche à l'oreille.
Oh yeah, well yeah, we're always it's like bouche à l'oreille, how do we say? But we're always talking to one another, and you end up finding this whole big group that thinks the same, and partners that you never thought you had. And all of a sudden, it's so much of the community that comes together. So, and the second question Omar had, and I've kind of lost it, but someone put a comment here. I just want to read it. Poverty is a social construct. Absolutely. It starts at the top. Things like removing CPP from eligible disabled contributors. Yeah, you paid into it. It's your money. Through hidden agreements signed by the government destroys the hope of dignity. Anything that is there to kill our dignity or take away our self-determination is a violation of our human rights. And we need to get out of our silos of, oh, we fight for mobility. Oh, we fight for intellectual. Oh, we fight for vision, and say, until we have our basic rights met, housing, education, proper income, proper medical, and transit, until we have those met, we need to work as one. We are the biggest demographic in this country. If we bring seniors in, because they face many of the same barriers we do, we can shut the government down and tell them, my favorite words, you can do it my way easy, or you can do it our way hard. Which do you prefer? But we need to tell them to stop it, that we are intellectual people, that we know what our needs are, and that we know how to properly go about fixing these. And if they're not going to do it, then we'll take over and do it. Because imagine if we ran the country. Think about how smart we are. Think about how much we had to work and work outside the box to survive. It would take us about 6 months and the whole country would be fixed. We'd be running perfectly, and we'd be everyone would be jealous of our models.
Resourceful is our middle name.
So elections are coming up. Like, listen, let's all band together. Through this, you're going to get a copy of our PowerPoints. There are so many groups. The more of us that band together, the stronger we are, and the more we can tell the government, buzz off, and we're going to do it. All right. We're running on time, so I'm going to pull up the other presentation because it's actually even closer to our hearts, and it's talking about universal design in housing. And our group, the MBCPD, and many other groups in Canada see this as the only true housing solution. And we really, really need to push this with the government. Okay, let's see if we can get this back onto screen share.
Wrong one.
Universal design. What we see as the only true housing solution. And just like the previous presentation, Australia rocks on this one as well. Australia now has it as law in 3 out of its 4 territories, and it works. Australia has now seen a huge decline in seniors that end up in nursing homes, or worse yet, have to live in the hospital for a long period of time. They've also seen a huge decline in new requests for knee and hip surgeries. And if you've ever experienced one of those, you know they're not fun. So, definition. The teacher in me has to give you the definition. I'm sorry.
Slow down the pace a little bit. We got a
Okay.
message.
I'm trying. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
So, UD is a foundation that makes sure that housing can better respond to our needs. It is usable by everyone to the greatest extent possible without having to go in and make changes. We've all seen brand new apartment buildings built, and for us, some of us to be able to use them, they then have to go in, tear it apart, and make changes. Stupid. Pardon the language. It's a home that will be there even as your needs change. Right now, we have people across Canada whose needs have changed tremendously, and they are not going out to try and get a new apartment because they know they don't exist. They know how hard it is, and there's a fear of losing their current one. And I do want to mention it's not the same as accessible design. Accessible design usually meets just the needs of the current tenant. We want a design that can meet the needs of as many as possible, and it is possible. I'm just going to show this for a moment, but this is from the National Housing Strategy of Canada and from CMHC, and these are some of the biggest questions about UD. So the first one, is it only for people in wheelchairs? No. UD, think of everything that's been created UD. The doors at grocery stores or malls that automatically open, those were created for us. But yet, they help people with children. They help people carrying groceries. Anyone, it helps movement. If you're walking with your loved one, swinging hands, it helps. And that is the same thing for UD housing. Is it expensive? No. CMHC studies have shown. Now, this one here says 57% of UD features have no or just negligible costs. Very, very minimal. You know what costs a lot? Tearing a place apart and retrofitting. That costs money. They say, and I just want to return to that. Housing with UD, apartment buildings, multi-units, is at 0.01%. And I see Sal on the call, and I just want to say that this, although is being put on by the NBCPD, I could never have done this without my work with the Accessible Housing Network of Canada, who represents well over 70 groups. We've just come together and we're fighting for this because everybody benefits from this housing. Will universal design units be rentable? Well, yeah, of course. And they can be marketed to everyone. Is there much that peeves you off more, Murielle? You may not see, but Murielle uses a power chair. When she's looking for a place. And wheelchair friendly units are rented out to somebody or a family that doesn't use a wheelchair. Do you like that, Murielle?
I don't, but granted, a lot of them do not meet the accessibility standards. So I
Yes.
could see why I could definitely see why that they may not choose uh, to rent it to somebody who is in a wheelchair. I visited an apartment just recently that if they did rent it to somebody in a wheelchair. I give it a week or two, and the moldings and door frames, it's all going to be wrecked.
Right.
It,
Yeah.
it's just not, it's not wide enough.
Yeah. But in the future, if we had UD housing everywhere, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
It would
You
be
wouldn't
wonderful.
have to worry about my needs have changed. What do I do? You wouldn't have to worry about, oh my goodness, something happened to mom. I
Mm-hmm.
need her with us. What do we do?
Yeah.
And the big question is UD attractive? People have this vision that it's going to look like a hospital.
It does not.
No, they're gorgeous places. They have all the new, cool, modern amenities are in UD.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're ever looking for some beautiful designs, right off the top of my head, in Ontario, especially Toronto region, there's a group called Daniels Corporation. They build UD and they have some gorgeous places that they model out.
A side note, that little drawing in the corner, the sink is not accessible. So
No,
it's just
it's
it's
just
just
not.
a
Yeah.
drawing.
But they've learned since they built that diagram.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
who
sure.
supports UD in Canada? Here's some of the big groups. You have CMHC, Canada Mortgage and Housing. They have a full booklet on housing units. With my work that we did at the AHN and we attended multiple meetings, we ensured that there were UD and accessible options in that book. Because I think they just gave in because they were tired of listening to us, but whatever works. And if you're
Quite
not sure
possible.
how to find them when you go into the image, there'll be a little bar that says, like single dwelling, and you can click that down and that might say multiple units. And within that, there will be one that will say universal design or accessible design. And it gives you the blueprint. It shows you what's going to be in there. It's fantastic.
I've got to check that out. I haven't seen it myself.
The federal housing advocate, Marie-Josée Houle, has been a phenomenal supporter of ours. She has sent letters off about why UD should be what we build. She has sent letters about the gross negligence of the lack of accessible housing in this country, be it for seniors, be it for people with disabilities, be it for anyone who needs it, our veterans who are coming back and have no place to go.
Bed blockers, like we were saying.
Yeah. And then people end up in the hospitals and then they get the term bed blockers. How rude. It is nobody's fault who has to live in the hospital that there's no place for them. And I don't know about other provinces, but I'm working with a dad right now whose son is about 24 now, and he has mobility disabilities, he has intellectual disabilities, and he's on the autism spectrum. And he had a care worker who was right in his face with autism. What did he do? He pushed her back. The worker pressed charges. Okay, if she was hurt or he was hurt, yeah, absolutely. The courts found him not criminally responsible. That young man lives in a prison now. They had no place to put him. So we put them in a jail. We give them a criminal number. Their parents can only visit during visiting time. Can't have a cell phone. This is how we treat people with disabilities? Are you kidding me? Disgusting. Another fantastic resource for UD is the Accessible Housing Network, the AHN. Just Google them. They have so many great pieces. And again, they're not just saying for people with disabilities, it's also for seniors, because many of the members and the people who founded it were seniors who were like looking for housing for 5, 10 years, couldn't find it. We are about to go into, in New Brunswick, the baby boomers getting to that age. Other areas have already experienced that. Where do we expect them to live? Like, come on. They built this country. Don't they deserve better? I think they do. Another great resource is called the UDNC. So it's the Universal Design Network of Canada. They even have free courses you can take to learn more about UD. Check them out. Oh, there's this really cool group in New Brunswick called the NBCPD. The government's tired of hearing from me, but I don't really care. We'll keep bugging them. We've done enough push that now the committee who is working on the Accessible MB Act, because we're about to get it, it has passed an Accessible Act. They're now putting it together. They have mandated universal design for all builds, along with people who will be there to apply fines and to ensure. So there's going to be repercussions, and there will be people checking on them to ensure. And so many more. There are communities throughout Canada that have already mandated this, throughout the US, throughout Europe, Australia. Check it out. If you're Googling it, make sure you put universal design housing, or you'll get it on everything else. Even Norway has said, if you want funding to build an apartment building, you have to make it UD. So people support this because they get it. But, in Canada, well, you can go to a shelter, I guess. Who
They're
doesn't?
not accessible.
Yeah, true enough. Who doesn't support this? It seems like developers. They like to build what they're familiar with. I can understand that to an extent.
Yeah.
But get over it. Statistics tell us that that developer or somebody very close to him is going to need, him or her will need you, or they will need universal design one day.
Yep.
Waiting till that day is too late. So let's build it now. Developers also like to claim that it will cost more. Studies have shown us otherwise. CMHC has this on their sites that they can go look up. Whether it's a multi-unit build at 0.01% or a private dwelling at about 5%. But that depends on how much you jazz and snazz it up. What costs money, as we've already said, is retrofitting. It costs millions of dollars. It takes time. It's bad for the environment. And it's built for the specific current user. If their needs change, we've got to retrofit more. If they move, we have to retrofit more. Which makes more sense to you? I would say UD, but maybe I'm a little biased. So, we're going to come to this question in a moment. Why should I care about that? Because really, these are the people we're talking to, right? And government doesn't bother me. So we're going to come back to this in just one moment. I just want to quickly show what we have next. Oh, I lied. First, we have our challenge to everyone. Here's our challenge. Let's see our do you dare take it?
Drum roll.
Do-do-do-do. If we all work together and push universal design, we have a better chance of seeing it. Call, email, nicely harass your MPs,
Nice.
your MLA or MPP, depending on where you live, and even your municipal government. They are responsible for some of the codes. and tell them why we need universal design. Insist for now, any new builds that receive even a penny of government funds or are using released lands from any level of government, no excuse. Those should be universal design. Then if they try and tell you, well, nobody knows how to build them, not true. Even schools in Atlantic Canada, us down here, down the boonies, are teaching UD in architect and engineering.
It's time to
CMA
learn. If they don't know, they better learn.
Exactly. It's
Or
time to
they're going to
learn.
be left behind.
That's right. And CMHC has their housing book. And under Canada's National Housing Strategy, there's this plan, CSA B652, to help you out. This is all going to be shared with you at the end afterwards, so don't worry about scrolling around to write everything down, okay?
Mhm.
And same thing with this. This is included at the end of the PowerPoint just to help you out, but it's a checklist on everything you might need, okay? So we're not going to review it right now, but this will be available to everyone to use, along with some links that may be helpful to you. I've also included this, it's a little funky brochure that the AHN had made up. Oops, and it doesn't want to open for me on this today. Here it is.
Oh,
And it just tells you why you need UD. It gives you the words you need. So please, beg, borrow, steal, use it, fight for it, because these are our rights. We have the right to dignity. We have the right to self-determination. We have the right to decide where we want to live and how we want to live. And they need to do a better job at it. So I'm going to stop my share.
it stopped already.
Yeah, I got to go in though and close it so my camera will work. And
That was interesting, Shelley. And now listening to it, I'm wondering, what would should we recommend that is done with the apartments that exist now? Because the apartment, we got a whole lot of almost brand new apartments, some brand new, some aren't even finished being built yet. So what do we do with those apartments?
as much as I would love to say we need to go fight with the government and have all those retrofitted,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more of a lost cause. But if we can fight going forward
I agree.
and say anything new needs to be universal design, then that's the way to go. And I'm going to give you guys a little trick. I do this when I'm meeting with the government
Okay.
or a building group. Anybody that isn't quite for it, I say, I want
Let's
y'all
hear
to
it.
close your eyes for a moment.
Okay, close your eyes, everybody.
And you're being released from the hospital. You were in a bad accident,
Uh-oh.
but you're getting to go home. But the doctors told you have to use a wheelchair for the next 6 weeks. You're
Oh,
lucky enough it's a manual chair, so you
okay.
can actually get a cab ride home. Because
Hmm.
if it was a power chair, at
Oh.
least here, you might have to book 2 weeks in advance. I don't know. You just sit at the entrance of the hospital. I'm not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
You
Probably.
get home. Can you get to your front door? Are there
Uh,
steps? Is there
yeah,
a small lip there that you've never even really noticed before?
yeah. Just stepped right over it usually.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but with the wheelchair, you can't.
Nope.
Is there a panel on the side to input a code maybe to get in? My
Too
daughter's
high.
condo has that, but
Yeah.
it's high so that kids
Oh,
can't play with it. If you are in a manual chair or you are a little person, you're probably screwed. You're
probably.
probably not able to do it. Is it a really heavy door? You might not be able to get in.
Oh no.
You've gotten in though. It's all good. Can you get down the hallway to your place, to your apartment or condo?
Hmm.
Maybe. You're fortunate you did. You've now even gotten in your front door. big scratch on it, but we'll deal with that after. Oh, just took out a chunk of dry of my wall as well because I hit
Drywall.
it. Yeah, my drywall because I
Right
hit
there
it
on
with,
the corner.
yeah, I hit it with the handle in the back trying to manipulate.
Oops.
Oopsies, we'll deal with that later. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go pee really bad. So I'm wheeling to the bathroom.
Not really.
And you get to the washroom, you go, can your chair fit in there? If not, what are you gonna do? Drag yourself across the floor or let
Maybe
yourself in your wheelchair? It's your two
you may
choices,
have
right?
to. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Then you get into the washroom, it actually fits, but can you get it close enough to the toilet to transfer safely?
Where do you park it?
Where do you park it? These are all questions that you've never thought about before. UD would have solved all these for you. Because then you say to them, you got to decide. Are you going to use adult tennis for the next 6 weeks, which you didn't think you'd have to do? Or
Mm-hmm.
are you going to allow someone to toilet you?
Mm-hmm.
Choices. While you're sitting there, you look
Yes.
at the bathtub and you go, oh,
Oh,
sponge bath it is for the next 6 weeks.
mm-hmm. Not if
So
you have universal design.
yes, if you had universal design, you might be able to have a nice, lovely shower/bath right now safely.
Mm-hmm.
You wheel yourself out, you head to the kitchen.
Oh, no.
That's when you realize that beautiful island that you've always loved now doesn't let you get your chair close enough to the fridge to open the door and get out the ice cream at top.
Oh,
Uh-oh, I'm
not the
having a
ice
rough
cream.
day and no ice cream. That's not good. So then you say, I'm going to go over and make myself a coffee.
Guess
Oh, I
again.
can't reach that cupboard where my mug is or where my carry pods are. It all of a sudden it opens up your eyes to so much. And when you give that idea to the temporarily able-bodied people to whom you're speaking, sometimes it makes them understand that that could be them or that will be them someday or somebody they love. So
Mm.
why are we not doing this? My MP, who is a new MP, David Miles, and he's also an award-winning, like Juno Award winner and stuff. After I presented to him his office, they are 100% on board. Any new build with federal money or federal land should be UD. If we can get 3 or 4 more MPs and get them together, they can fight in the House. We
Mm-hmm.
can make this change happen. We can ensure that all new builds work for everybody and that you can age out with dignity there. My mother should not be in a nursing home today. My mother's dementia should not be where it is. She lived in an apartment for seniors and it did not have, well, it wasn't universally designed. And between each room, there were little floor strips. She got up in the middle of the night to go to the washroom because she wouldn't use the commode we bought her. Of course, this time she did not have on the watch that I paid for it, $75 a month. So it would track if she fell and she could call 911. And she fell and broke her hip. She caught her foot on that little divider.
Yeah.
She laid on the floor for 7.5 hours till the worker got there. They took her to the hospital, but between the length of time on the floor and the anesthesia, her little bit of memory loss became full-blown dementia. She used to call me on the TV remote control, or at least she thought she was. She'd go, the phone's not working, Shelley. I don't know why. And I can joke about it because it's my mom. So I would never say that about somebody else's mom. She would also say, oh, geez, my hip hurts. I'd be like, yeah, you broke it. She'd be like, did I? No, I didn't. And I'd say, take a look. And then she'd see the stitches and be like, oh, I guess I did. So
It's the trauma of having
the
fallen.
trauma
Yeah.
and the fear that it instills in people going forward, we don't need that. UD takes care of that. So please, if any of you, and our emails there, and the AHN, who is doing fabulous work on this, is there. Please,
Yeah.
please, please reach out to them. The more MPs we can get on our side, the more we can ensure going forward that we have this housing for those in need. So we have a couple minutes left. If people have
I'm,
questions, if anything's come in, please,
you know
please,
what I'm
please. Okay,
wondering?
Sabrina.
Oh, we have one already. Yay.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So I just wanted to share, thank you, ladies, both Murielle and Shelley. I really appreciate the time and really resonated. The conversation that you both shared really resonated with me. I know it may have resonated with the viewers. I just wanted to share a comment first in the chat, and I have two questions for you.
Okay.
One is Karen Watkins shares. Lever door handles and lower light switches can also make a difference at home. Do you have any other
Yes.
comments for that before I go to the questions?
Yes, and those are both actually part of the universal design. They're both in there.
Yeah.
So it's lowering your light switches, raising plug heights.
Yes.
And those two
So annoying.
actually, and I can't remember offhand, are either in the current new code or will be in 2030.
You need to be.
So they are really, there are so many falls from trying to reach over to plug things in. And if we can eliminate those,
And
fabulous.
head first, may I
Head
add.
first falls, yes. So, I mean, everybody's pretty much has done it or watched
Right?
someone do it, and you think it's funny when you're able-bodied, but it's not so funny if you break a hip or hurt your head and I don't know about every other province. Well, yes,
Concussion.
I kind of do, but who wants to go to the emergency room right now?
Woo.
Nobody.
Nobody. So, yeah,
Thank you
absolutely a
for
very important piece.
Thank you, viewer, for sharing that.
Yes.
Okay, so two questions I have for both of you. Not a scientist, so I leave it open. First question is, how can smart home technologies be levered to enhance independence for people with diverse disabilities?
Oh
Yeah.
Any
my
thoughts?
God. I love
Yeah.
smart technology.
You
Okay,
take this one, Murielle, because you
Sure.
live this.
Smart technology is like really a godsend. And I know it does come with, prying ears. Alexa, I know she's always listening to me, but I find for me personally, I'll take the bad with the good because it helps me so much. Even stuff that seems like trivial, like you buy a lamp. Where do I put this lamp that where I can reach the switch? Like you want to put it behind your chair because you need it there when you're reading, but you can't because you can't reach the light switch. So that solves that. You can put your lamps wherever you want. You
Yeah.
have a curtain and you're like, okay, how am I gonna reach this curtain? And you put that, it's a lesser known piece of technology. We put it on and it'll open your curtains. This used to cost you like hundreds, maybe $1,000 to have smart curtains, but not anymore. Not anymore. And things like the smart, not heaters, but the thermomet. I think it's the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah, having the smart thermometers that
I'm
can
like
read
very
your
French this
temperature.
morning. Yeah, and you that regulating the temperature for somebody who either whose legs, has inflammation and or you get too cold, like Shelley's feet from
Yeah,
cancer treatment,
yeah,
and that all that like so many things, and door
mm,
openers which I don't have, but I wish I did. It's that would also be
mm,
a godsend, or
yeah.
knowing who's at the door without having to open your door because you can't see outside. You
The
can't see
peephole,
the
yes. Many of
people.
them
It's too
are,
high.
yeah. And many of the smart technologies are included as recommendations under universal design,
Hmm.
recognizing that not everyone can use them depending on what your disability is.
Yeah.
But for those who can, fabulous tool.
Hmm.
Yeah, and If you don't have access to a phone, although it's not the greatest, there are programs in Canada where you can through Bell and Rogers and the government, they're refurbished phones often, and they're using bottom of the
Mhm.
barrel technologies or bottom of the barrel
Yeah.
bandwidth, but it's still there for you. So
And
take advantage of it. You need it.
wearable technology, like Shelley mentioned, like having fall detection on your smartwatch, uh, can save a life.
Yes. So all
You know,
important stuff. Yeah.
so much stuff. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's very informative to our viewers. And also, maybe you've brought something to us that we didn't know and we can now look into. So we appreciate
Mhm.
that very much.
Yeah.
The
Gotcha.
second, thank you. Then the next question I have here for you is, how can Canada balance the need for universal design with the realities of a tight housing market and affordability crisis? Mm.
Well, I would say we still have the new national housing strategy, and the federal government is out there to build apartments and build a lot of places. So whether they are building some apartments that are 30 and 40 stories high, or they're building some duplexes or triplexes, there are building code plans already designed for those. If they say anything new that the feds are building has to be UD, that's going to balance it out. There's already all kinds of items out there that are not UD. If we make everything new UD, it will do two things. It will teach developers that it's actually easy and cool. They do less strapping with their 2x4s that saves the money because they're making things wider. And we're showing people that it's not like all sanitized hospital like industrial, unless you want to build and change it that way. But they're cool homes. So if you do that and show people, and then you've got your other places that are out there, it's going to make a difference, because the plan to just keep building and building and building nursing homes, what are we going to do in 20 years? Oh, I'm sorry, ASL, I just went really fast. I caught myself. What are we going to do in 20 years with all these nursing homes? And sadly, our moms and dads have passed on. They're going to become white elephants that there's nothing we can do with them but tear them down, start over. That's not good for anyone. So let's really push anything new, UD, and that alone will help balance it out some, I believe.
Wonderful. And with that, we will close
Okay.
our panel session. Shelley and Murielle, a heartfelt thank you and such valuable knowledge and perspective you've given us today on this panel. We sincerely appreciate your time and the knowledge you've shared. So we will
Pleasure.
take
I
our
I
leave with you.
I
Sorry.
just want to quickly mention, I see two really important names on the screens, Kate Chung and Salamento. I have been working with them now the last 6 months. No, because the meetings and my cancer treatments don't balance. But they have been so amazing, so informative, and have really led the way to this change. And when we see it happen in this country, keep those names in mind, because they made the whole country and housing better, not just for people with disabilities, but for everyone. And I hope to goodness they are recognized, because they have done so much and they are fabulous, fabulous people. And I do want it recognized.
Thank you, Shelley. And together we advocate with you alongside our viewers. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, Shelley and Murielle, a heartfelt thank you on behalf of Disability Without Poverty for being here and enlightening us with your conversation. So, viewers, it is now time for a break. We are looking to take a lunch break and give a a rest for our wonderful team who is behind the scenes and our accessibility and ASL interpreters, as well as our CART team. So we will close now and begin back our next session at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, which is 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you'd like, in the meantime, most welcome to go to our YouTube channel and view any of the wonderful videos and presentations that have been posted. We look forward to seeing you then, and thank you, and we'll be back soon. Take care.